Usa ka pagtuo, usa ka tingog, usa ka katawhan. Cebu Catholic Television Network.
Maayong hapon sa inyong tanan and welcome sa Pasyal Tayo.
Ngayong araw na ito ay ipapakita natin kung ano ang COVID-19 antigen test.
Bukod pa po dyan at marami pa pong iba, kaya sit back, relax, and let's enjoy this 30 minutes of pure, educational, fun, laughter, at excitement.
Dito lamang yan sa Pasyal Tayo, magsuroy-suroy ta. Kamakailan, nagpunta tayo sa Bonifacio Global City sa Taguig, kung saan nakilala natin ang isa sa malaking health test kits maker. Dahil sa pandemya ay naging mahigpit din sila sa mga bisita. At sa pagpasok nga natin dito ay ginawan muna nila tayo ng COVID-19 antigen test. Ito ang kanilang FINA antigen test. Makalipas ang 15 minuto ay negative ang resulta natin. Pinakilala din nila sa atin ang kanilang confirmatory test na Sophia antigen. Kaparehas lang din halos ang estilo ng pagsusuri. Una ay pinisinga tayo ng 3 beses. Matapos naman ay sinimulan na nila ang nasal swabbing. Matapos nito ay nilagay ang swab sa buffer solution. At pinatakan naman sa test kit ang fluid ng buffer solution. Pagkatapos nating maghintay ng 15 minuto, ay nilagay na sa Sophia machine ang test kit at naghintay tayo ng 10 segundo. At nang makita natin ang negative sign ay makakasigurado tayo na safe tayo sa COVID virus. Sumunod naman ay nakilala natin at nakakwentuhan ang CEO ng LabX Corporation na si Mr. Tom Nabasero.
LabX was originally founded in 2018, so just a couple of years ago. But our family of companies have been around for 60 years. So it began in 1958. My father started PhilLab, which basically built about 80% of our laboratories in our country. We built RITM, the FDA building, the NIH, NKTI, Lung Center. We built all these labs. So laboratory and medical testing has been in our family for over 60 years. LabX is focused on diagnostics. Well, we first began in 1986, where we provided HIV testing. During that initial pandemic, HIV was the biggest problem in 1985-86. We became probably the largest supplier of HIV testing using passive agglutination technology. Then in the 2010, we developed a dengue test kit. This one is the first self-test kit ever developed in the world. A self-test kit for a mother to test their child if they have dengue or not. And WHO said, if you can detect dengue early, you can reduce death by less than 4%. Now, for COVID, as of last year, we have over 18 Philippine FDA certificates for COVID-only test kits. We're probably the one company with that many certifications. Let's start with our RT-PCR test kits. We started with BGI, Beijing Genomic Institute, where we donated over 100,000 of these RT-PCR test kits to the government in the first month of the pandemic. Then we represented a company called Quidel. Quidel was the first to launch the first antigen US FDA approved brand called Sophia. So the Sophia, which is now being used by our president and by many other corporations, is our high-end US FDA antigen test. After that, we brought in our quantitative fluorescent test. This is the FINA. So this machine is a point-of-care machine. It's portable. It can go with or without battery. This basically can check a quantitative value of your viral load. Why is that important? Because it measures contagiousness. When we can measure contagiousness, meaning it's like checking if you have a gun, but is your gun loaded? Correct. So RT-PCR checks if you have a gun, but there may not be any bullets. But antigen testing is measuring that you have a gun and your gun is loaded, meaning you are contagious. So if you come into my room, I will be harmed, or I will catch the virus. So antigen testing, especially that which uses fluorescence and quantitative, we can measure the load or the amount of viral load in your system so we know if you're truly contagious or not. Okay, it's a big difference. RT-PCR, you have a pre-contagious measurement and a post-contagious measurement, but that's not harmful, right? What you want is contagiousness. Are you contagious at this point of time? That's what antigen testing is. Okay, it's not artificial. We don't replicate or amplify the virus. We measure exactly how much virus you have at that point in time. That's the beauty about antigen testing.
Mga kababayan, naaba mo'y ipahinungod o gusto i-shoutout diha? Pagpadala og mensahe o video sa ato ang official Facebook page nga nakasulat sa screen og ato nang ipasalida diri sa Magsuroy-suroy ta. Pasyal tayo!
Discover the beauty of the Philippines. With Philippine Airlines, the country's flag carrier. The airline that lets you feel the warmth of the nation. Mabuhay!
Yeah, so everyone has fallen into that understanding that RT-PCR, or reverse transcriptase polymerase chain reaction method, which is just a NAT, right? A NAT is a nucleic acid amplification test. It's one of, RT-PCR is just one of the NATs, right? NAT has become, or RT-PCR has become a gold standard. Why? Because it was the only test we had in the very beginning. Right? It was the first. Typically, the first type of diagnostic test shines, right? But remember, the background of RT-PCR is really for research, for novel viruses. It is used to detect new viruses, not for diagnostics. It's too expensive, it's too slow, and it's too complicated. But for research, it's perfect. CDC, or the US laboratories, that's the only tool they had. So they promoted around the world, please use RT-PCR, that's the only way you can detect it. But 6 months later, we developed antigen, right? Antigen testing is and has been around for decades. hundreds of years. Antigen testing is so easy. We just need to create the kit. Only occurred 6 months after. Now, are there pros and cons of both tests? Yes, there are. There's a pro for RT-PCR, there's a pro for antigen. What's the pro for RT-PCR? It's so sensitive because it amplifies one specific virus and makes it 100 of them or 1,000 of them that can be detected. Does it measure contagiousness? No, it does not. RT-PCR, does it measure contagiousness? No. Antigen? Yes. Okay? Second, speed. It takes 8 hours in the laboratory to do an RT-PCR test. Extraction, amplification, processing, that's a whole day. Antigen, 15 minutes. Speed, pros and cons. Okay? Price, cost. Antigen, sub $10. RT-PCR, sub $100. Right? So both have their pros and cons. So it's how you apply it. But for an outbreak, as we speak today, for an outbreak we have, a surge is what we have. Antigen is the perfect tool. Prevalence is high, meaning there's a lot of positivity. So the probability of getting positives and high sensitivity on antigen is very high. So for now, I hope that the government uses antigen for this surge. It's fast, which you need, speed, and you can afford it. You can do mass testing or decentralized testing. So there's two types of testing methods. Mass testing, which is you lock down the whole city, test everyone, or you do decentralized. You let people test themselves. I don't want to call it home-based, but I'll call it home use, or office use, or anywhere use, really. It's ubiquitous. So ARIA was developed to solve one key problem: early detection. RT-PCR was far from early detection. You get swab, you don't know if the guy's positive or negative till the next day or maybe 2-3 days. And what do they do with that patient when he walks in to get swab? After he gets swab, he walks out. He came to that testing center because he had symptoms, and yet we send him home because we have no results. And that's how the spread occurs. That's why RT-PCR has done more harm than good. Right? I went to one testing center. We had our antigen machine here and they had the RT-PCR swabbing. They were positive in antigen, but they were still waiting for the RT-PCR. Guess what that patient did? Go home. Even though we knew he was already positive. They went home to spread to the family. Okay? So, ARIA was developed to focus on decentralized testing. Okay, and what do I mean by decentralized testing? We empower each and every Filipino to test themselves. But I don't call it self-testing because under the laws of our certificate, it must be administered by a health professional. So these test kits must be administered by a health professional. I know they're simple. I know anyone above grade 3 can do the test, right, and read the result. But our laws under FDA require, as we state here in our box, must be administered by a medical professional. But how do we solve this so that you can do it anytime, anywhere? We set up teletest. Teletest powered by Zoom. Call it telenurse. So we make it very black and white here. Open only when you call the nurse or when you scan for the nurse. We like Zoom because it's free. It's HIPAA approved. It's very safe, easy to access, low bandwidth. So they scan this. You automatically will be connected to one of our telenurses in our teletest service. That nurse, like what they're doing right now, you take a film of that. She will guide you on how to do the test, how to swab safely. We designed our swab to the point where we cannot do any harm. Right? So if you look at our swab, first is a big tip compared to the nasopharyngeal tips. Right? Second, we put a notch here. There's a notch that you can feel. So our nurses will tell the customer or the patient, please hold it at the notch. And why? Because that's how far you want it to go only. We don't want them to go all the way up here. It's just up to here. So the beauty about our testing is it will only go up there. It will get good load, it will get good mucal load, so that the test is very sensitive. So we do 3 to 5 swabs here, 3 to 5 swabs here, and then we put it into this test. So if I show you really quick. So the packaging here is aluminum based to keep it protected from heat and light. It was designed by LabX and it's OEM by our Lepu Medical Group, a public company that first launches in Europe.
Tuig 2021. Sa ulugon ta ang ikalima kagatus ka tuig nga kasumaran sa pag-abot sa Kristyanismo dinhi sa Sugbo. Agi og pagpangandam nining dakong kasaulugan, dilusad ang programa Pagsangyaw 2021. Usa ka mabulukon nga kalihukan sa pagpaambit sa gasa sa pagtuo. Madungog diha sa mga parokya ug lain-laing pundok. Gipasiugdahan sa mga laiko dinhi sa Archdiocese sa Sugbo. Gidapit ang tanan sa pagsalmot niini sa bisan unsa nga paagi. Ipaambita ang gasa sa pagtuo.
So this is we call it a card test or test card, right? And again, ARIA. This is the visual window where the results will come out. And these are the result guides. 2 bars positive, 1 bar negative. Again, scan the nurse here, right there. So what happens here is, after you swab, very simply after swabbing, you will on a flat surface insert B to A. So you just swab like so. And then we're given a diluent or a buffer. The buffer basically has a detergent. Detergents they destroy the virus. Because viruses are not living things, they don't die. But you can destroy them. You can break their nucleocapsid. The shell of a virus is broken down as if because it was made out of fat, lipids. So these diluent has soap, a detergent. This detergent breaks the outer shell, which then releases the antigens on that shell, which then our test picks up. So you pour the content into A, you take out sticker, you close, you write your name and everything, and then 15 minutes, the results will occur. That's how simple this is. But we do it with our telenurse to ensure that we record. We can even actually give you a medical certificate after we see the results online, and we will send you the PDF medical cert via email or via WhatsApp or whatever platform you use, so that you can get results certified within 30 minutes. More testing. Antigen testing is needed for mass testing and decentralized testing. Allow homes and everyone, right, to potentially have a home use based test, a low cost solution. So we don't need to walk from one house to the other. Empower the Filipino to potentially do a test at home with our nurses, right? We need a bigger call center. We need bigger distribution of this. That's one. Second, mass testing. Lock down a certain area and test all, especially during this lockdown, right? Make use of lockdowns. If we're going to lock down our country for 2 weeks, let's do something, which is test, test, and test. Separate the sick from the well, from the healed, right? And that's my message. No, thank you for allowing us to speak in your platform. And we're here just to develop new kits, right? I mean, here we developed a COVID risk panel. A COVID risk panel is to measure your ability to protect yourself from the COVID virus. So we measure 7 parameters. We measure your vitamin D level. Everyone has heard that vitamin D is important against COVID-19. And it's also stated that if you have insufficient levels of vitamin D, you end up either symptomatic or dead in ICU. If you have high levels of vitamin D, you survive the ICU treatment or you're asymptomatic. ARIA can be found on GrabMart. ARIA, all our information is on our Facebook page so that they can access that as easy as possible.
Matapos nito ay umikot tayo sa kanilang opisina at nakita natin ang kanilang teletest center kung saan ginagawa ang self-administer na ARIA test kits. Oh, ano? May natutuhan ba kayo today? I hope makapagbigay ito ng mas magandang impormasyon sa gobyerno at sa ating lahat.
Isa sa mga madalas nating kainin, lalong-lalo na pag umaga o malamig ang panahon, ay ang lugaw o rice porridge. Unang-una kasi ay makakapagpainit ito ng katawan. Pwede na nga din nating masabi na complete meal ang lugaw dahil may kanin ito at karaniwan din itong sinasamahan ng ilang mga side dishes. At minsan nga may sahog na din itong laman kagaya nga ng lechong kawali. Marami ang istorya ng pinagmulan ng lugaw at sabi nga ng iba sa ating mga kababayan ay imbento daw ito ng mga incheck.
Sa pagkakaalam ko rin po, ang lugaw ay nagmula rin yan sa China. Kaya may maririnig tayo, ang tawag rin sa lugaw, hindi lang basta lugaw, merong porridge, meron ring congee.
Ayon naman sa National Quincentennial Committee of the Philippines, sa kanilang pahayag kamakailan, ang lugaw daw ang kilalang pagkain ng ating mga ninuno ay dahil nasusulat ito sa 1613 Vocabulario de la Lengua Tagala na nakasulat na kanin na hinaluan ng tubig o gatas o parehas. Kamakailan din ay muling sumikat ang lugaw dahil sa isang nag-viral na video. At dahil dyan, nag-ikot-ikot tayo sa ilan sa mga masasarap na lugawan dito sa Metro Manila. Una tayong nagpunta sa Camarin, Caloocan, kung saan nagpunta tayo sa bagong bukas na lugawan na ito.
Ano lang to nung nag-start kami dito, January 30. Pero nung first kasi nito, stall lang siya, ito lang. Food cart, doon lang sa harap ng bahay. So, yung gamit kasi namin dito is talagang yung buto ng baka. Tapos, kasi yung mga lugaw dito usually.
Simple ang atmosphere dito, ngunit sa murang halaga ay punong-puno ng laman ang kanilang lugaw, kagaya ng mga laman loob at karne ng baka. Di lang yan ha, may itlog at lumpia side dishes din sila. Sumunod naman nating pinuntahan ang isang sikat na lugawan na ito sa Malabon. Kung dati, ang lugar na ito ay punong-puno ng mga nakaupo at naka-dine-in. Pero ngayon dahil sa ECQ ay take-out at delivery lang ang available sa kanila.
Nagsimula to nung umuwi na ako galing abroad. Dati po akong OFW. Talagang plano na namin na magbukas talaga ng kainan. Ang number one reason masasabi ko, lugaw lover rin ako kasi I believe in the product. So talagang mahilig ako sa lugaw. Mas maganda, what better business is something that you love. So kaya po lugaw talaga ang
Pinakita nila sa atin ang kanilang specialties. At kung mapapansin nyo, gumagamit pa rin sila ng kasubha sa pagkukulay ng lugaw kahit medyo may kamahalan ito. Bukod sa laman loob, ay kilala din sila sa pagsasahog ng lengwa ng baboy at ng sumpia o lumpia na may iba't ibang gulay na sahog. Kinahulihan naman ay nagpunta tayo sa bagong bukas na lugawan sa Novaliches, Quezon City. Dito, pork asado naman ang kanyang sahog at may crispy lechong kawali.
Naisipan namin magtayo ng lugawan kasi sa dami-dami namin nakikitang Paris Mami, nawawala na yung original na lugaw na kung saan yun yung natural natin kinakain every morning and merienda. Binabalik lang namin. Cheaper kasi ang lugaw. Unlike ng mga ibang pagkain, eto, kahit konti lang meron ka, makakakain ka na. At the same time, lugaw, kanin pa rin ito. Kaya lang, may lasa nga lang.
Nagbigay naman ng panayam si Edgardo sa mga gustong magsimula ng kainan kahit may pandemya.
Kailangan lang meron kayong 5 katangian. Sipag, tiyaga, lakas ng loob, kapal ng muka, at tiwala sa dakilang lumikha. Lahat yun, meron kayo, magtatagumpay po kayo.
Ano guys, nag-enjoy pa kayo sa episode natin ngayong araw na ito?
Kung meron kayong mga comments, suggestions, o meron kayong mga gustong ipabot sa amin, maaari lang po kayong mag-text sa ating text line na 0977-6655-093 or mag-email lamang sa rjnltv@gmail.com. Samahan niyo ulit kami bukas, alas 4:30 hanggang alas 5 ng hapon.
Dito lamang yan sa Pasyal Tayo, magsuroy-suroy ta.
Susunod na po ang Sairi 47 para sa mga maiinit na balita. Mga kababayan, naaba mo'y ipahinungod o gusto i-shoutout diha? Pagpadala og mensahe o video sa ato ang official Facebook page nga nakasulat sa screen og ato nang ipasalida diri sa Magsuroy-suroy ta. Pasyal tayo! Mga kababayan, naaba mo'y ipahinungod o gusto i-shoutout diha? Pagpadala og mensahe o video sa ato ang official Facebook page nga nakasulat sa screen og ato nang ipasalida diri sa Magsuroy-suroy ta. Pasyal tayo!